We're back in Grow HQ here in Waterford for another year of growing, cooking and eating.
This year, the 7 veg we're growing are
Onions, pumpkins, sweet corn, courgettes, kale, French beans and spicy chilies, making each vegetable the star of the show.
We'll be teaching you how to grow like a pro.
Look at these beauties.
As well as travelling far and wide to find the best food stories from around the country. Is everybody hungry?
Then it's into the kitchen for our favourite part, the taste test.
Yum.
So what are we waiting for?
Let's get growing.
So Mick, which veg are we going to grow this week?
This week we are growing French beans.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
easy to grow?
On a scale of 1 to 10, they're a 12.
12 is in really hard or
No.
12 is in really easy?
No, really easy. Really easy to grow. Unlike a lot of the other kind of peas and beans family, no faffing around with shelling and potting and all that. You just grow, and when you have loads of them, which you will, just bung them in the freezer. They're brilliant to have.
Deadly. And are we going to grow them inside or out?
Both, actually.
Deadly. I bags the inside.
So I guess that's me on the outside.
This week it's all about French beans. And with a little bit of magic, we'll be giving Jack a run for his money.
Also tonight, I'm going to be heading back to school to talk about a project that is really close to my heart.
I'm going to a party in the woods to find out how All Together Now are trying to minimise their waste.
Then Chef Katie Sanderson will be putting her twist on an absolute classic. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need to get some feed into the soil. So we've got two things here. We've got some seaweed dust, which is a great kind of general purpose fertilizer, and organic as well. And these are our poultry manure pellets. French beans are slightly unusual in that most of the kind of legume families, so the peas and the beans, broad beans, runner beans, all those kind of things, actually take nitrogen from the air and put it into the soil. French beans don't do that as successfully. So that's why we're giving them this kind of a high nitrogen feed. And we're just going to literally sprinkle some of these onto the soil where we're going to sow them. And then we're going to just rake it in quite carefully. So you do about a handful per square metre, which is a sort of basically a kind of a stride. So you don't need to be kind of too accurate about that. We don't need to worry about getting this soil sorted to a fine kind of a tilt the way we do with some things, just as long as it's generally speaking kind of flat. And what we want to do is create a kind of a teepee. And I've got 5 of the kind of bamboo canes here. Get a little bit of twine just to tie this at the top. So if you just sort of grab it together like that around the top, any kind of an owl knot will do the job grand. So that's nice and sturdy there. So then we've got our seeds. So this is a climbing French bean, which is different to the dwarf French bean that Karen is going to be sowing. Variety here is called Cobra. And basically what we're going to be doing is sowing 2 of these at the base of each of the canes. We just kind of pop them on the soil to start with. And then, as with most seeds, you're looking at sowing them about twice the depth of the size of the seed. So you're looking at about kind of 3 to 5 centimetres down into the soil. They're a very forgiving crop to grow. You can't go too far wrong with them. And the beauty of having 2 in there, I suppose, is that if one doesn't germinate, you've got one there to cover as well. And it's very, very hot in here and the soil gets really, really dry. Obviously, you need to keep these waters. I'm just going to grab my watering can and we'll keep the soil kind of nice and moist all the time. So they probably need watering every day. And we just keep an eye on them, keep the thing weed free.
Mick has been sowing the climbing variety up in the glasshouse, but I'm going to give the dwarf variety a go here. And all you need to do is place them on top of the tray and then give them a little push down, just like so. Now, this variety is called the purple teepee, and even though they're much smaller, when they're grown at full, they're a really beautiful black colour, and yet the beans taste pretty much exactly the same. So really simple. They do need to go into a nice warm sheltered spot, bear with. And then in about 4 weeks' time, we're going to be planting them straight out into the raised bed. So, Garçon, see you play?
You called, Your Majesty.
Oh, I just love it. Okay, could you please take the dwarf beans,
Yes.
give them a little drink for me,
Yeah.
and put them up into the glass house
No
whilst they're getting
problem.
ready.
Anything else you need?
I'd also like a black coffee,
No.
a raise,
No.
a new car.
No.
A dog at work?
Definitely
a dog at
not.
Work. A dog at work? Yes.
We'll do the watering though.
I'm bringing my dog to work.
In just 4 short weeks, the beans have sprouted and are starting to climb.
Don't they look absolutely amazing?
They look brilliant.
So you know the thing I love about these, right, is just the way they climb and kind of like how they know that
Yeah,
how do they
naturally.
know that support is there for them to grab onto? Like, it's mental, isn't it?
It is mental.
And here's another thing that's going to absolutely melt your brain.
Okay, as if that's not melted enough already.
Have a look at all of them. They're all climbing anti-clockwise.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if
why?
we were in Australia,
They'd go the other way
they'd
around.
be going the other way
no
around.
No way.
I swear to God. So they go anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere, and below the equator they go clockwise.
Come here, because there's been such beautiful weather and heat and extra growth, is that any damage to the plant at all? Is there anything that can grow too fast?
No,
too
and
soon?
and surprisingly, like these aren't very thirsty at this stage. Like, we do give them a good watering can full of water at the base of the plants. You
Okay.
don't want too much water on the leaves. Keep disease down, so all of the water is going into the soil.
Right, what's next?
These are doing absolutely fine here. We'll check in on these in a couple of weeks' time. We should have some beans, I think. The ones we did in the module trays, though, are absolutely bursting out of the trays, need to be moved on. So we're going to be planting some outside, some in containers.
Yes.
Let's crack on.
With the love.
Give you a hand up, will I?
Thank you.
Seeing as how you're being so kind, Mick, any chance you could tell us how to plant out our beans?
So we're doing 3 rows. The rows are about 50 centimetres apart.
Okay.
And within the row then about 10 centimetres apart.
Okay, so
In
I'm not...
there, you're not going to do that, obviously.
No, I'm not going to do
So
that.
just space them as evenly as you can.
In
You
a
wanna-
circle?
Whatever shape
Oh.
you desire. Just make sure they're about kind of 10 centimetres apart
Yeah, okay.
or so. So we're doing a handful of seaweed dust and a handful of poultry manure pellets per square yard, Karen.
Yeah.
Is that what you're... I'm gonna, even though there's a little bit of rain forecast, I think I'm gonna give these a water because they were a little bit dry
Yeah.
coming out of the modules.
Right, is
All
that it?
That's
Could
it.
you carry it over to my little container space
Sure.
for me?
Happy to do that, Karen.
Say it like you mean it, Michael Kelly.
Oh, jeez, it's quite heavy now that you've watered it. Now that our beans are safely in the ground, it's time to talk about a school project that we are really proud of. So the idea for Eat Together came about kind of late 2016. Got a call from the chairperson of the Educate Together school out in Tramore, Corinne McLaughlin, and Corinne comes from France originally, and I suppose she had seen the contrast between how kids eat in school in France and how they eat here. The lunch break is often squeezed down to 5 or 10 minutes in most schools in Ireland, so they're kind of put under pressure to eat quickly and then they're kind of shunted out into the yard. So what we do is, for over an 8-week period, once a week we deliver a 2-course hot lunch to the school. So we serve up the food, we're talking to them as it goes, and they take a full 45 minutes to eat the food. First thing we get the kids to do is set up a long dining table that allows for a bit of chat. We use real cutlery and plates because this is a proper meal and not a quick school lunch. Then I'm channeling my inner teacher to chat to the kids all about the food they're going to eat. Anybody know whether these grow over the ground or under the ground?
Under the ground?
And now it's time for the kids' favourite part of Eat Together. Okay guys, you all have your food, so let's eat! So I think what we're seeing behind us here is you can see the kids are eating, but they're also chatting to each other at the same time. And that's the kind of key part of Eat Together, because what you have is a little bit of positive kind of peer pressure that they're sort of seeing the person beside them eating, and they're all kind of willing to try things. A few of them are like, I'm not sure about this, but at least they're trying it because they're seeing the person beside them. And of course, what we hope is that that positive kind of bit of pressure goes home and they're saying to their parents, I tried this at school, I tried that at school, and that's the sort of key to this program.
I like learning about vegetables It's really interesting when Michael tells me about the vegetables that I don't know and that I already know. We've learned about a lot of new vegetables now, so I could probably go home to my mum and dad and ask if I could have new vegetables in my dinner.
The kids definitely enjoy the Eat Together programme. They look forward to it every week when they know it is happening, and they're just excited about what's going to come in and what they're going to try. They're a lot more aware of the social experience of eating. They try more foods and they just generally have a more positive attitude towards food. And the recipes for everything that they've eaten during the day go home, so there's that big link to home where they can talk about the different fruit and vegetables that they've tried and maybe even cook the recipes at home again.
You know, what we'd love to see is a national rollout of even at a small scale of a program like this to, you know, test what we think the impact is and what we're seeing here today on a national scale.